All right. Hello. Let's just get right into it. I got no reason not to, right? Should we start with the crossword today? How much time do we got? Mm, yeah, we'll start with the crossword. It's Sunday, right? Might as well. Got to do something tough. All right. Departed unceremoniously. Like got booted out, got kicked, contained, held, maybe. Tries to get a rise out of, eggs on, pokes, something. Seeing someone, say dating, seeing someone. Couldn't agree more. Not sure. Mark. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How am I forgetting that? It may come with attachments. Email. Mark Hammond? Part of what makes you you? Oh shit. Do the right thing? Take flight? Fly? I okay. I'm shepherded, led. John in the Radio Hall of Fame. Oh no. Jalopy? Oh gosh. Honest to goodness. Mark Hammond? Oh, amen. Okay, yeah. Part of what makes you you. DNA. Certain vacation booking in Madrid. Don't know. German article. Somebody should know that. Addis Ababa. Oh gosh. Leisurely evening walk. It's usually not a stroll. An evening stroll. Isn't that canine frenemy Odie? Fill with love. Dote on, adore. Dizzying designs. Spirals? No. Police department members. Like, yeah, I don't know. Samwise Gamgee. Sergeants, maybe? Pants in slang. Trow? One may keep keep a watch on you. Dizzying designs. Enamor? Yeah, that's probably it. On a date. Possibly, potentially, perhaps. German article. Love Maggie. One may keep a watch on you. A strap. That's something. Op art. Not sure. Strength. Pluses. Pros. Exceeded. Little reminders. Jalopy. Nashville to Asheville. Asheville, North Carolina, so southeast? Nest egg in its IRA. Word with a gauge or guitar. Standing on the street. Cred? Japan's largest carrier. Not sure. Cocktails with curacao. Not sure. Some sci-fi film effects. Utterances of disappointment. Oz, maybe. Pretty please. Can I? May I? Bacon, egg, and kitchenware. I don't know. Rice-A-Roni. That one I know. Charge to redeem mutual funds. Indignant retort. Ada Lovelace, maybe. Horace Works. Odes. Odes. Put out. Big fiasco. Fiasco. Jeez. This is why this is the warm-up. Not ready to talk yet. Mind. Probably care. Things from a distant land. Couldn't agree more. Cousin of Gomez Adams, no clue. Up now. Ringmaster. Look for. Seek. Snooped around. Snooped. Snuck around? That doesn't feel like it would be the answer for that. Float component. Root beer. Ice cream. A rose, maybe. Indiana pro athlete. A Colt. The Indiana Pacer. Made it big. I don't know. I'm just going to do... Oh my god. Okay. We are. Hamel. Jeez. Oh, east, southeast. My bad. Seven? Okay. Do the right thing. Aviates. Real. John in the Hall of Fame? I feel like they're so John that I just do not remember. Dare. Yeah, I don't remember why. I don't speak any German. Eloped? Oh, I see. Leisurely evening walk? I don't understand. Love language. Spanish Armada. Oh, okay. What? Exceed. Go over. Go What? 6 gauge? Tin? No. Tiny stinger. B. Meeting of the minds. Oh, is this just CGI? Well, okay, sure. Why not? Something fee. Number 1. 4x4 for 1 ATV. Nice. Oh, favorite. I guess. In Imperial Russia. Not so sure. Tiny stinger. Post-its? I guess. A meeting. Where's new? Like, before his new purchase backfires, what do you think? Acme something. Go past. Okay. John Tesh? I don't know who that is at all. What is this? Billions and billions of boutique items. Acme to their leader? What? Acme to what? Exit fee? Oh, yeah. Can so. May so indignant. No clue here. Oh, red ants, maybe. Yeah. Dude, I gotta tell you, I got bit by a red ant. That hurt way more than I thought it ever could. Yeah, I don't know if I stepped on it or something, but it burned for a while. Ugh. Always afraid of walking barefoot in grass now. Mortal mother of Dionysus. Why would I know that? Naked as a jaybird, probably. Bonanza discoveries. Tears down, raises. Oh, I did not think that would be right. Newsroom VIPs. Anchors. Hosts. Guests. Very fast. Madame Tussauds. I guess, yeah. Tight formations. Tight fit. Squeeze. Okay, that one I can get. Oh, Basque? I I'll get it when I see it, but huddles. Editors, I guess. Are they really the Flash in a Flash? Okay, that makes sense. Little reminders, notes. Isle. Okay, never mind. I did not understand. Dancing. Oh, Dancing with the Czars. I get it. I get it. Alright, Scruff's necks? No. Potencies? Mai Tai. Oh, I see. Okay. Napes. So kind of necks, but not. Mouth puckering, sour. Goofy? Of course. Sugar, suffix, sugar. Send packing. Evict. Banana Republic competitor. I don't know. Minye Shiva. Jewish. J. Crew. Thank you. Sugar or? No, sugar. I have no idea. Ego. Send packing. Oust. Okay. Lesser of two evils. Lesser of two veils? Oh. Okay. Alright. I get it. Mary? I have no idea. Orcas. A corner of a diamond. A base? Like a baseball? Yeah, okay. Parking spot. A lot. Area. Kind of PC port. Is this just seat? Yeah, you park yourself, I guess. The DEA, I was gonna say, yeah. Ray, yeah. Lithe. I thought that would mean you didn't like unclear waters. Unclear. A dirty look. A bad eye. Rami Malek. One might have a. How's my driving? Those are on semi. Did people actually call that? Ever? Like, I just can't imagine anybody. Figure I might say egocentric something. Kiss cam. Stare down. National fruit of Japan is a variety of. Why would I know that? The eye. Oh, of course. Sport. Have on. Oh, like you. I guess. 90-degree bend. Arc. Angle. Olive oil. Real. Okay. That's. I don't like that one. Like the set of single digit integers, nonette. Finite. Okay, sure. Stare down. Something with a T face. Bedome? I don't know what that means. Bed be damn? A curse, maybe? Sure. Outface. Sure. Metaphorical place of indecision. Rock in a hard place. Hey, what's up? How's it going? We're gonna move on to Fox News in just a moment here. Dude, did you see the Zoran Mamdani and Trump? that was a good. I mean, it was fucking crazy, but big fiasco. Spat hullabaloo. Wow. What is happening? Oh, I was arguing about tax rates over here. So that's what that is. It's why we should have a marginal tax rate, why it's better than a flat tax. Acme to their... Okay, I'm like very, very stuck here. Soda. Oh, I was thinking like root beer. Actress Khan who played Frenchie in Grease. I would have no clue. Poked around? Nosed around, probably. Yeah. Grovels. Summer hours, like PDT. Did you see that nursing is... Yes, I did. I was going to look into that because what the fuck? That's insane, right? Like, someone in my Discord sent a list of the ones that are no longer covered. It's no federal loans for graduate degrees. Still though, like that's not good. And it's nursing, physician assistants, physical therapists, audiologists, architects, accountants, educators, and social workers. So like, so what still counts as a professional degree? Oh my god. Oh, chiropractors. I'm trying to see if we get a list for theology. I like see the list of things that are no longer considered medical degree, but what are the things that are? What is still considered a professional degree? Let's see. A veteran, but not a nurse. Nice. Pharmacy. Theology. Of course. Why would it be anything else? That's crazy. That's fucked up. Well, it's like, obviously, but like... My coworkers and I were joking we're going to put a tip jar in all of our patients' rooms. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. I mean, if you have to tip the person who gives you a pre-made bagel, you should probably have to tip, like, a nurse or something. I feel like that's... if we're deciding that we're going to tip and do that for everything, why not, right? What would be the equivalent of spitting in someone's food for a nursing thing? Like, put glass shards in their medicine or something? I don't know. That's... Acme 2. Like putting air in their IV line. Okay, I was gonna say that, but doesn't that kill them? Because when I was going under, I saw like bubbles, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm too like out of it to say anything. But there was obviously something there that was not, or allowing the air bubbles to go into my bloodstream, where I think I would have found out. But So would glass shards, true. So, like, like something unnoticeable, but that still inflicts some harm. That isn't, like, beyond the pale. Like murder. Okay, sure. Look for? I mind, care, ringmaster, MC, pushing Ivy Benadryl. Oh my god. That's. I just. Makes them loopy so quick. Okay. Yeah. I guess, yeah. Like, only administer half the recommended dose of painkillers or something. This is fucked up. I feel like this is gonna border on criminal conspiracy or something. Alright. I might finish the crossword, but I want to get to the meltdown. Fuck. So you can watch. You're gonna lose your license from this chat? Well, when the VOD goes up on YouTube, maybe. Because the chat has people intermittently coming in and out, but the YouTube channel gets decent viewership. Alright.
I think that part publicly surprised them, but it's...
I had to stop putting chat on screen because I had a guy that was in here and he was like, you know, I like you, I like your analysis, you just, you know, you don't let me be racist in here, so I'm gonna unfollow and see myself out. I was like, yeah, you do that, bud. What? It's just... I don't know.
It's not really surprising, knowing President Trump as well as I do. He wants peace. This guy will.
So this is going to be a Fox News Cope session about Mamdani just doing a masterclass, something or other, of getting Trump to do a full 180 on him. Now, are we surprised? Kind of, but to a monitored or like a measured degree, because Mamdani's a charismatic guy. They're both New Yorkers. Trump obviously is going to like the person he spoke to last, even with preconceptions. Yeah, and Mamdani went, you know, I guess supposedly offering some sort of peace. Trump took it. They both got a win from the moderates. Yeah, now conservatives are going to frame this as Trump schooled Mamdani and forced him to play nice, and harsher leftists are going to be... I actually don't know. I don't know if they'd be mad that he's smiling next to Trump. I don't know. Ultimately, he's going to be the mayor of New York. Not having the president be adversarial is probably good for New York. So... Anyways.
Won the election. He asked for a meeting. The president met with him. But I don't see how they will reconcile defund, dismantle, no bail laws, empty the jails, and not
thing that's
support
not-
ICE in their attempt to enforce the law. I don't see any resolution there, do you?
New York's always been a sanctuary
Well, Sean, you hit the
city,
nail
so-
on the head in your opener there.
up,
This
Caroline.
meeting today really proved that President Trump is willing to meet with anybody, to sit across the table, to shake hands, look people in the eye, and have discussions on how
I
they
hate
can
her so
mutually
much.
benefit the American public. And don't forget, President Trump is a lifelong New Yorker. He loves that city. He helped build the skyline as it
Trying to
exists and shines
rationalize
today.
it
So, of course,
to other
he wants New
concerns.
York
This
to
is
succeed.
so
He
good.
wants all of America to succeed.
It's funny because she was like on her press briefing yesterday talking about how Trump's gonna take him to school, like he's gonna own him. Like,
Because he is a president for all Americans, despite what the Democrat Party and the leftist
president for all. As she was also up there yesterday defending his remarks to calling for the death of Democratic congressmen and women for saying, hey, you know, if you're given an illegal order, you don't have to do it.
media might tell the American people every single day the president wants this country to come together. And you saw that on full display in the Oval Office. Now, actions, of course, speak louder than words. And ultimately, the mayor-elect will be judged by the actions he actually takes in New York, and that has yet to be seen. But as for the actions of President Trump and this administration, rest assured to New Yorkers and all Americans, the president is going to continue to put you first. We're going to continue to slash regulations to bring down prices that were caused by the Democrat Party. We're going to continue to drill, baby, drill, unleash America's energy independence. And of course, we are
You gonna drill in New York? What
going
does
to
this have to do with fucking New
continue
York?
to mass deport illegal criminals from our communities, and ICE will continue to operate in New York City, and that discussion took place in the Oval Office today. President Trump's never going to change his values, but he's always going to try to work with others to make this country great.
But, you know, we are seemingly, Caroline, and I really like your thoughts on this, we are at a crossroads because I don't think there is a way, and I'll talk to Stephen A. Smith about this later in the show.
Oh my God.
I don't see how you reconcile defund, dismantle, no bail laws, and reimagine the police like
they have to reframe everything he says to make it sound bad, because the policy itself, I don't necessarily agree with it, because framing all mental health calls as like non-dangerous situations isn't really great. So saying that police shouldn't respond to mental health checks, I don't know. I think a lot of times if someone's not in their right mind, you probably want someone who can use force if necessary. But I'm sure that'll be amended. I mean, he kept the old police commissioner, which is a good move. He's not cutting rates of police, which is probably also a good move. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I have some overlap with Mamdani. He's definitely significantly to the left of me, but, you know, vote blue no matter who, right? And a police ambush is not effective? Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the police should go, like, you know, FBI open up and have the assumption that there's a violent person, but they should be able to respond. You should have someone who's able to respond with force if that becomes necessary. Maybe send an officer and a social worker in. I think that might be the best option. Because you don't want the cops doing mental health, like the actual therapeutics part of mental health. And you don't want the social worker doing the law enforcement part of mental health. Yes, maybe one of both.
like Mamdani wants to do and put in the social workers. I don't see how you reconcile those that want to raise taxes all over the place and the president's strong commitment to creating a thriving business environment and cutting taxes for working men and women, or those that don't want fossil fuel use.
Oh yeah, another benefit of the tip jar in the doctor's office would be no tax.
Where's the middle ground on any of those issues? Law or securing the border, for example. Where do you meet in the middle there?
What does the mayor of New York have to do with securing the border? Take it up with Greg Abbott, man.
Well, look, I think today's meeting between the president and the mayor-elect was a good first step to introduce themselves to one another and to hopefully have a good working relationship moving forward. But again, it doesn't mean, Sean, that President Trump is ever going to change his values. And we know, and the president knows...
Trump changes his values like that. Like, I don't know, we could see Chairman Trump. We've already got public ownership of Intel and whatnot, so maybe this is the future of our country, as we've got our version of Chairman Mao.
And the American people know that ultimately President Trump's policies work and capitalism works. And if you look at what President Trump has already done with respect to the economy, there was a lot of talk on the issue of cost of living because it continues to be a concern for voters. And President Trump is very...
Trump called it affordability a new word that these Democrats just started talking about, and then said, I don't want to hear about it. So... Shut up.
Well aware of that, but look at what he's done thus far. It's a proven economic formula that is working when you combine a massive deregulatory campaign to get the government out of the way of small business and American industry.
When you look at what he's done with respect to energy. Cutting the bureaucracy doesn't necessarily cut regulation. Arguably, it makes the time, well, necessarily so, it makes the time to get through regulation longer.
Independence to unleash America's resources right here at home to drive down oil prices, which we've already seen result in a 20% decrease in oil prices. We have lower prices at the pump today than we did years ago, and those prices are going to continue to decline. If you look at the cost of everyday items,
if we invade Venezuela and take their oil, probably.
And again, they will continue to because of President Trump's economic formula. And then, of course, tax cuts. That is President Trump's bread and butter issue, as one may say. Look at the one big beautiful bill. He already got that done within 6 months in office. And the American people, including in New York, especially in New York, are going to see the fruits of that labor next year when there is more money back in their pockets, when they are keeping more of their hard-earned paychecks to catch up on bills.
Unless they work in a non-service industry or one that doesn't offer overtime, like, then what?
And to pay for everyday's life expenses. So the President Trump's economic formula does work. It is working. It worked in his first term. And who knows, maybe Mayor Mamdani will go back to New York and maybe he learned a few things from President Trump today.
You may be more hopeful than me on that. I hope so. I hope for the people of New York, but I think taxes are going up. I think that crime is going to get worse, and I think there will be a clash between ICE and Mamdani, but I hope I'm wrong. How's that? Anyway, our White House briefing, Carol.
Also, just looking at some of the regulations that have been repealed. Protections against high overdraft fees. That's fun. Credit card late fees are uncapped now. Basel III apparently is coming down, so banks are going to have to hold less capital. So what this means is that when you deposit a loan, or if you make a deposit, the bank can loan out, say, 90% of that. The more the banks loan out, the better the economy does, but if things start to go bad, they don't have enough of everybody's money to pay them back. And given that it seems like we're in a pretty significant bubble here, that's a little scary to pair with things. Oh,
a dictator walk into a bar.
This might be the most annoying person in politics. That's not true. It's Michael Knowles. But the smug, stupid combo is That's rough.
The heads of major countries, nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting.
Another regulation is ending the requirement to track and report their emissions for large polluters to track their... Okay, cool.
The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares. But they did care about this meeting.
The press was foaming at the mouth. They thought it'd be the biggest brawl since Zelensky.
So did you guys. Yesterday, you were like, Trump's totally going to school him. Hold on, I'm sure if we go to Fox, I can find a quick clip. God, I might as well subscribe to this fucking channel. Let's go.
Socialist Zoran Mamdani pressed on his plans for the NYPD once he becomes mayor during his meeting with President.
Oh, actually, fuck.
And joining me now is the mayor-elect.
Got an interview with the man himself.
New York City, Zoran Mamdani, Mr. Mayor-elect. Welcome back to Meet the Press, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be back.
Well, it is wonderful to have you here in person, fresh off of your first meeting with President Donald Trump. He praised you. He even said you could do a great job as mayor despite months of a bitter back and forth. Were you surprised by the warm welcome that you got?
You know, I was looking forward to having the meeting with the president to speak about the needs of the 8.5 million people who call the same city we love home, and to speak, frankly, about the affordability crisis that is pushing so many of them out of those 5 boroughs. And I found in the meeting that I had with the president a productive one, and a meeting that came back again and again to the central themes of the campaign that we ran: the cost of housing, the cost of childcare, the cost of groceries, the cost of utilities. And it showed
The top issues being pulled, yeah.
that this is an opportunity to now start to deliver so that people can do more than just aspire to struggle in New York City, but actually to be able to live there.
But did you expect it to be so chummy? What was going through your head when you were standing there?
You know, I thought again and again about what it would mean for New Yorkers if we could establish a productive relationship that would focus on the issues that those New Yorkers stay up late at night thinking.
I said yesterday, or the day before, like, selfishly, of course, I wanted a bloodbath. Everyone wanted a bloodbath. But for the sake of New York, that was absolutely the right way to go. But, you know, it would have been fun.
Because so often in our politics, we try and tell people what they should be worried about, what they should be concerned about. But when you actually ask New Yorkers and you listen to them, you hear it come back to the issues that animated not just the conversation the president and I had with the press after our meeting, but frankly in the meeting itself. It was a conversation where we spoke about the need to deliver on this agenda. And I appreciated that when the president, when we had that meeting, it wasn't just in the Oval Office. He also took me into the cabinet room, and there we were looking at portraits of presidents of years gone by, and we admired a portrait of FDR. And in many ways, when I think about the candidacy that we've put forward, it looks to Fiorello LaGuardia as the greatest mayor in New York City history. You can't tell the story of LaGuardia without telling the story of FDR and the story of a relationship with the federal government that finally delivered at the scale of the crisis it was facing.
Well, prior to your meeting, I don't have to tell you this, President Trump repeatedly threatened to cut off federal funding to New York if you won. The president seemed to back away from that yesterday, though, in his public comments in that joint news conference that you all did. He said, I don't think that's going to happen. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. Do you believe him when he says that?
No, I believe the president in the conversation that we had, and I will continue to make the case, both to the president and to the country at large, about the needs of New Yorkers. Because what I found, frankly, is that New Yorkers have grown tired of being asked to believe in a system that has delivered very little for them. They're tired of a politics that expects everything from them while delivering little. And what they want now is a politics that can see the scale of the crisis in front of it and actually start to work together to deliver on that crisis.
You know, you ran a campaign, though, saying that President Trump had not delivered on his promise of affordability. Did anything that happened in that meeting make you think, yes, he can deliver on that promise for Americans, for New Yorkers?
Well, I spoke to the president about the fact that while Our campaign technically began on October 23rd last year. For many people, they became aware of it after the president won his election. And when I went out and spoke to New Yorkers, asking them who did they vote for and why, in two neighborhoods that swung most significantly towards the president. This was Fordham Road and the Bronx Hillside Avenue in Queens. And I shared with the president that when I asked those New Yorkers why did they vote for the president, they told me again and again it was cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And when the president and I were speaking, we were speaking about what is preventing from delivering on that affordability agenda. Sometimes it's a lack of taking on the broken system.
That man, he is a phenomenal politician. he can stay on message through literally anything. Very impressive.
That we have, and I spoke about in New York City, for example, zoning regulations. We spoke about ULURP. This is a process by which you either approve or deny zoning changes that are made in New York City. We spoke about the need to change so many of those situations such that a developer doesn't tell you the thing more expensive than labor or materials is waiting. And we also spoke about the importance of understanding what it is that hurts New Yorkers in their pockets. It's their rent, it's their childcare, it's their utilities, and it's their childcare. Because the childcare, I say twice, because it is the second highest cost after housing, $22,500 a year for a single child.
Well, let me ask you about the other threat that we heard from President Trump to send troops to New York City to address issues of crime and immigration. We've seen him do this in other major cities. Did you get any assurances in your meeting, Mayor-elect Mamdani, that President Trump will not send troops into New York?
I told the president that the cornerstone of an affordability agenda is public safety, and that it is critically important to me. And for all that has been said and all that has been spoken about, and the tens of millions of dollars looking to make New Yorkers fearful of that question, the truth of it is, in fact, that I'm looking forward to working with the NYPD to deliver on that. And I shared with the president that my decision to retain Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch is in large part a recognition of the fact that in her time leading the NYPD, she has driven down crime across the 5 boroughs while starting to uproot corruption that was endemic in the top echelons of that department under Mayor Adams.
And I'm going to follow up with you on your decision to keep Commissioner Tisch. But to this core question that I think so many New Yorkers are curious to know the answer to, what did President Trump say to you? Did he assure you he will
that really is the question.
He told me that he cared deeply about public safety. I said I cared deeply about the same.
But did he say he wouldn't send troops?
What I told him is that what separates New York City from anywhere else in the country is we have the NYPD. And I trust the NYPD to deliver public safety. And to me, that is something that I know that they can do, that they have done, and they will continue to do under my leadership.
So no, he did not make an assurance that troops would not be sent.
So he didn't rule it out in your meeting?
I made it very clear what we wanted to do was to deliver public safety and affordability, and the NYPD would be the ones to do so.
In that press conference with President...
I don't know, like... I don't know. I'm not a political strategist, but I feel like you can say, yeah, he didn't make that, so I will defend New York or something like that, but what do I know?
President Trump, a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer, then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, "That's okay, you can just say yes. It's easier than explaining it." So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do?
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement, about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
You've also said in the past that President Trump has engaged in a, quote, attack on our democracy. You've called him a despot.
Literally every Democrat and some Republicans have said that.
But
don't frame that as
do you still believe President Trump is a threat
uniquely scary or something like that
to the democracy?
Everything that I've said in the past, I continue to believe. And that's the thing that I think is important in our politics, is that we don't shy away from where we have disagreements, but we understand what it is that brings us to that table. Because I'm not coming into the Oval Office to make a point or make a stand. I'm coming in there to deliver for New Yorkers. And a few weeks ago, I was asked by a reporter 3 words to describe myself. I said, New York City. And that's what animated that conversation. How do we deliver for the people of New York City?
I think that...
Socialists are on...
My chair just fucking... I don't know if it broke or...
And joining me now is the mayor.
That was fucking terrifying.
And I think this was something that came up in our meeting. We spoke about immigration. Coming into the Oval Office to make a point or make a stand. I'm coming in there to deliver for New Yorkers. And a few weeks ago, I was asked by a reporter 3 words to describe myself. I said, New York City. And that's what animated that conversation. How do we deliver for the people of New York City?
I think that some of your supporters would be curious to know. You say you stand by your past statements that, yes, he's a threat to the democracy. How do you square working with someone who you still think is a threat to the democracy?
I think working for the people of New York City demands that you work with everyone and anyone, and that you always look to find those areas of agreement while not overlooking the places of disagreement. And I think this was something that came up in our meeting. We spoke about immigration. We spoke about the fact that in New York City, we have sanctuary city policies that allow for the city to work with the federal government on around 170 serious crimes. The concern for so many New Yorkers comes about anything beyond that. And I spoke about the importance of us being able to protect New Yorkers, and some of the incidents that we see, they do not do that.
You raised the issue of sanctuary cities, so I want to speak to you more broadly about the issue of immigration. This is one that is so...
New York's sanctuary laws are fucking very, very reasonable. Like, ever since Operation Lone Star with Greg Abbott just sending, instead of, dealing with or trying to work on the immigration problem there, the classic Republican solution of ship it over to somewhere Democratic so that they'll take care of it. This is what Orban did, this is what Trump does, this is what Greg Abbott did. But New York is like, okay, look, we're not going to talk to ICE for minor crimes. We're not going to report that to ICE. What we will report is major crimes. We'll work with them. Also, we'll figure out a way to have people not on the streets, but in some sort of housing. It's like, yeah, it's pretty reasonable. And not a glamorous amount, just enough to survive. And try and get people to work as fast as possible. And you can't stay in the houses for more than a year.
So critical to New York, the rest of the country as well. One of your top supporters, Senator Bernie Sanders, recently weighed in on President Trump's record managing the border. He compared it to former President Biden. I want you to take a listen to what he had to say. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Trump did a better job. I don't like Trump, but we should have a secure border, and it ain't that hard to do. Biden didn't do it. Those before him did not do it. We should have a secure border, period.
Do you agree with Senator Bernie Sanders that President Trump has done a better job securing the border than former President Biden?
I haven't thought much about comparing presidents on the question of securing the border. I think it's important that it's secure, and I also think it's important that we have an immigration system that is humane. And that's what I spoke about with the president, is that New Yorkers want to see humanity in the policies that are being implemented.
Do you give President Trump some credit for the work that he's done to make the border?
Be liberal fake news. What the fuck? What is that?
Senator Sanders' estimation more secure?
What I give President Trump credit for is the meeting that we had yesterday was one that was focused on how we could work together for New Yorkers. And the place that we could do so most effectively, frankly, is...
There's a point to where, is it staying focused on message, or feels like somewhat of a lack of depth on certain things? I don't know. I have to see more.
Is ensuring every New Yorker can afford the city they call home.
Well, you take me to my next question, which is about the central issue of your campaign, affordability. You have said that you want to raise $9 billion in new taxes, increasing taxes on the wealthy, on businesses, in order to fund your key policies like universal child care, which you mentioned. You would need Governor Kathy Hochul to be on board with this. You'd need her signature. She has never publicly committed to increasing taxes. I know you just spoke with her. Mr. Mayor-elect, did Governor Hochul commit to you that she will support and sign on to your plan to increase taxes?
The governor and I had a productive conversation, and what we both committed to is working together for the affordability agenda. And one thing I appreciate of the many about Governor Hochul is that she's been focused not just on affordability, but specifically on universal child care for quite some time. And now is the time to bring a partner forward in City Hall. And I've said plainly and openly that I believe that these are two tax proposals that make sense, increasing the personal income taxes on New Yorkers making $1 million or more by just 2%, increasing the top corporate tax rate to that match that of New Jersey. And what I've also said is more important than how we fund something is that
that's good framing to match that of New Jersey.
Fund something. And if there are additional or alternate revenue streams to do so, I will accept them and I will celebrate them, because the most important thing is to actually deliver for the New Yorkers who right now can't even conceive of having a family in New York City because of how expensive we've made childcare across the 5 boroughs.
Well, and your entire agenda is incredibly ambitious: universal childcare, free buses, among other things, lowering rent.
Didn't we have childcare under the Carter admin? Wasn't that a thing? Free buses? Is this really so out there? In the city that has the main offices of like the top investment banks I feel like we can get free buses. Hell, I wouldn't mind riding the JP Morgan Chase bus if it was free.
You deliver on this agenda without Governor Hochul agreeing to increase taxes.
Well, I'm
City
thankful that
bike,
I'm not going to have to engage
JP
in the
Morgan
hypothetical.
bus, the Goldman Sachs subway. Okay, maybe not.
Because I am confident of the two of us working together to deliver on this agenda and ensure that finally, and this goes back to just that portrait of FDR, we look at what politics has been in the past. It has been there in the moments of such transformation, meeting the scale of the crisis. We can do that again.
So just yes or no, you think she'll raise taxes?
I think she'll work with me to deliver on affordability. I think raising taxes make the most sense. If there's any alternative that raises the same amount of money, I'm open.
All right, let's talk about another major issue, which you referenced: policing.
So many major issues.
Crime. There are a lot of major issues, I know. 5 years ago, you were calling for defunding the police. Now you are in charge of the largest police department in the country. You have tapped Commissioner Jessica Tisch to stay on in her job. She has accepted. She wants to put thousands more police officers on the streets of New York. Will you do that, Mr. Mayor-elect?
I've said over the course of the campaign that I think the number we have had budgeted of 35,000 officers is a sufficient number. What we have to do, however, is allow those officers to focus on policing. And what I mean by that is that in 2020, the response time for the NYPD was less than 11 minutes. Today, it's closer to 16 minutes. Large part of that is because officers are now having to deal with 200,000 mental health calls a year. And so our proposal is create a Department of Community Safety, task it with the mental health crisis, the homelessness crisis, and allow
But like, these people will at points be violent. Like, unless you're going to authorize and train these community safety people and presumably arm them in some manner, then I don't really foresee this ending too well. Like, there's a reason we send police here and not like someone else.
Officers to focus on serious crimes so we can get back to the work of delivering on this, as opposed to being trapped in a political discourse without addressing the systemic crisis.
But you know, violent crime is substantially down under Commissioner Tisch's watch. Do you acknowledge that her approach is working, and therefore do you need to listen to her when she says, I need more cops on the street?
The reason I made the decision to retain Commissioner Tisch is because of the importance of outcomes. The fact that she has been able to deliver on rooting out corruption while lowering crime is something to be celebrated. And I think the commissioner and I have been very clear that what brings us together is a shared importance of public safety. I think we can do that with the officers we have.
Would you rule out putting more police officers on the street?
What I will tell you is that the 35,000 we have...
Dude, okay. He's a good politician, but like, to own a position. Come on.
Budgeted, that's the amount that I think we...
So...
Okay. Let me ask you, again, just going back to that press conference with President Trump. As reporters were leaving, you were answering a question that I think was hard for a lot of people to hear about your response to protests outside of a Manhattan synagogue. Your initial response to that incident did receive some criticism, as you know. What is your message to Jewish New Yorkers who feel you won't be tough enough in your response to anti-Semitic incidents?
That I'm looking forward to being the next mayor of New York City and fulfilling the commitment I've made to Jewish New Yorkers over the course of this campaign, which is a commitment to not only protect them across the 5 boroughs, but to celebrate and cherish them. And what that looks like is rooting out anti-Semitism. It looks like increasing funding for hate crime prevention programs by 800%. And it also looks like ensuring that we have NYPD protection outside of synagogues and temples, especially on the high holy days. And I want to just say, recently on Yom Kippur, there was a horrific anti-Semitic attack in Manchester. A rabbi in New York City reached out to me and said, could you ensure that there's additional police protection outside of the synagogue for today? I said, absolutely. And I also asked, what if that rabbi did not know the next mayor of New York City? We have to make it so that it doesn't matter who you know. It matters that you will get that safety and security because you're a New Yorker. That's the administration I'm going to put together.
All right. I do want to talk a little bit about the future of the Democratic Party. A number of Republicans are casting you as the face of the Democratic Party. Mr. Mayor-elect, I wonder, do you think that Democratic socialists can win across the country in battleground states, for example?
I think...
The answer to that is unequivocally no. That's every state, every community, every town has its own Overton window. How's it going, Beck? And outside of that Overton window, you will not get votes. Just, I'll be in general. So I just play back his answer here.
I wonder, do you think that Democratic socialists can win across the country in battleground states, for example?
I think a focus on the importance of dignity for working people is something that appeals to people across this country. I will not venture into the world of national politics and punditry, but what I will tell you is that in New York City, we saw so many of the same dynamics we'd seen elsewhere. We'd seen a shift towards the right. We'd seen obituaries being written about the Democratic Party's ability to speak to young people, to speak to Asian voters, speak especially to young men. And I actually shared this with the president, that the very constituencies that he had won over, that were a critical part of his increased vote share in New York City, were the ones that we then looked at as who we should focus on to bring back into the party. And I think that when you speak to those constituencies with the same respect you'd speak to any other, you will see that they will then engage in the process. We saw an increase in voter turnout amongst 18 to 29-year-olds by more than 300%. And that's because we spoke to them as New Yorkers who are facing an affordability crisis, not...
I swear to God, if we keep talking about young men. Pierce Morgan is still doing debates on it. I saw Kevin O'Leary and some other guy debating toxic masculinity, and just like, why?
As young people, we have to finger wag to participate in democracy.
Two more quick questions. If Democrats win the midterms, do you want to see Leader Jeffries become the Speaker of the House?
Yes.
Okay.
All
that
right.
was a firm, quick answer. So you leave plenty of time for my final answer.
Let me go back and give a little more.
Look, former President Obama called you after your victory, and he offered to be a sounding board for you as you take on this role of mayor of New York City. What advice did he give you about how to lead effectively in these years ahead?
You know, one thing I really appreciated about the conversations I've had with the president have been the importance of what it looks like, not only to inspire hope, but to sustain it and then to deliver on it. And time again, that comes back to the city hall that you're putting together. And even right now, we have about 40-odd days of a transition. Transitions are typically a time of pageantry and pomp.
You heard it here first, folks. Mamdani's cutting transition time down to 40 days.
We want it to be a time of substance, a time of purpose. And so we ensured that the first day after the election, we announced our 4 incredible co-chairs of our transition, our executive director. And then the week after that, the first deputy mayor, the chief of staff. We're moving much faster than typical because we want January 1st to be a day where we start to deliver, not start to prepare. And I appreciate President Obama's emphasis of what it looks like to prepare in advance so that you can deliver.
All right, Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Real pleasure.
I mean, yeah. Besant says inflation has nothing to do with tariffs. This is just Watch the News with me, the show. There is a press gaggle that I wanted to watch first, though. Oh, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's leaving. Good riddance. But also, it's a shame that when she leaves, it's likely a Trump loyalist will take her seat. So, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it'd probably be better if she... Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene's stepping down. Probably better to have MTG there than a MAGA rubber stamp, which it's the bar is in hell, as I've been saying.
Listen, I just want to comment on this. Okay, that's super interesting because that actually means. Oh, sorry, Minecraft music's playing. That actually means like somewhat honest about her positions, like that are not like. I was thinking it was like kind of brought up that MTG was like faking being anti-Trump because she thought that Trump was like on the downhill. So she was like,
but
if she's leaving, that means she actually held some real views.
Yeah, I think she did genuinely believe it. Like the shit she was spinning, and that's I think it was more when she saw that even one vote out of line would bring the full ire of Trump down on you. I get like black-pilled her, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think she expected when she went against Trump on the Epstein files for him to come down as harshly as he did on her. But since he did, she kind of got scorned by it, and it's like, I can't take this, and if I'm going to get primaried, I just don't want to be part of it. I just...
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, fun stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay. I guess that's an interesting story to follow, because it's like, or not that story itself. Like, how do people? I don't know. I can't tell who's like a genuine like MAGA lover, or like they all kind of hate. They all don't. They all know it's bullshit. I don't know. I'm very confused about all of it.
Most of them know it's bullshit. In MTG's address, like her farewell address, she said the Republicans that pretend to like Trump but secretly hate him, and yada yada yada. Now I don't know if that's just her believing like, oh, everyone's against Trump, he's a permanent victim, yada yada yada, or that she's like leaking these backroom conversations of, yeah, we fucking hate Donald Trump, yada yada yada.
I mean, you looked at literally every Republican's okay, Matt Walsh, J.D. Vance, Ben Shapiro, all of these people are like never Trump Republicans.
Yeah.
And then Trump is like popular, and they're like, actually, this guy's the coolest guy ever. Yeah. And their critiques are so seething and like honest.
Yeah, I think old JD is crazy.
No, you should look up old Matt Walsh, because imagine how crazy, insane Matt Walsh is now.
Yeah,
he literally sounds like a liberal wine mom. Like it's whatever. Yeah, so, I mean, those guys are like the pundit guys are so evil.
Should I look for like?
Let me look. Matt Walsh, The Blaze, Trump. I think he made like an art. Oh my god, this is not real. 2017, Matt Walsh says, I have incontrovertible evidence that Trump colluded with Russia. Like, this guy was such a fucking... Wait. God, what was this? No. These are like all... No, 2024. Okay, I don't know.
I know, something about... I don't know what initiation ceremony they do into the Republican Party, but abandon all of your values. Stand for literally nothing. You will vote in line with us. That's like... it's just... Like, how do they keep all of their people in line so strictly? Is it really just, like, for J.D. Vance, too? Like, is it really just the promise of power or, like, a position that is so alluring? Like, it can't just be that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Because what power is there? Like, they're already, like... I feel like they could just, like... centrist bullshit their way to forever be like, oh, I kind of don't like Trump, but I don't like.
I mean, if you're the
Okay.
if you're the VP, you kind of have to.
Oh
if
yeah,
you're being groomed
sure.
for the VP pick and you do want it, you do have to change your.
Yeah, I guess they just really want it. Like, that's what it is. I guess they just really want the position. But like
yeah.
Kash Patel, okay, now he's FBI director. Yeah, what, he gets to fly on a private jet? Like that? What's like? Who the fuck cares? I don't know. Maybe they
I mean, it's
care.
you know he's. I feel like centrist people care about that one a lot because like, fucking. You know, flying out around your 20-something-year-old girlfriend as the director of the FBI on taxpayer money is not a good look.
No, it's not a good look. But I'm saying he could have just been an influencer guy who is friends with billionaire sponsors, still flies the PJ, just isn't a fucking FBI director, and actually, like, now he has an actual job, man.
Yeah.
Every day he walks in with his eyes like, oh my fucking god, I have to actually do shit. And he's freaking the fuck out.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, like he was a like kind of successful influencer, and all he did was like pro Trump shit. Like,
yeah. Well, then he made his millions off his incredible book or something.
Yeah. Down with something the king, or I don't know.
The Plot Against the King.
The Plot Against the King. Yeah, W. Book, man.
W. Book.
He's one of the best authors. New American author. What's it called? What am I trying to say?
Only you can tell me that.
Like, you know how we have like good authors, like once in a generation, and this the best American author of the 21st century.
It should be taught in contemporary literature.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I have to go to the store. I'm really hungry.
Enjoy.
See ya. Bye.
See you, bud. Oh my god. He's got that shit on. What the fuck is this?
Mr. President! Mr. President! Mr. President!
What?
Senator!
I don't even know what to make of it. I cannot hear dick.
Especially for our great Air Force, we're doing some fix-up of the base, which is neat. We're going to try and reinstitute the golf course.
Oh, they're upgrading a golf course. Nice.
And he's involved in trying to bring their recreational facility back. It was a great place that has been destroyed over the years through lack of maintenance, so we'll fix that up. Jack will be the architect and he'll design it. Two existing courses that are in very bad shape, so we can pervert.
How does this go fly? It's like the number one issue right now people are talking about. Affordability. Also, I'm going to go fly over to my golf course to fix it, or a golf course to fix it up.
Money fix it up for the Air Force Base, and we're looking at other things over at Andrews. So we're going to be stopping, won't be too long. We'll be stopping over there. I think some of you will be there. And the economy, as you saw, some incredible numbers came in. Investment in our country is bigger than ever.
Is there a new FDIC or FDI chart? Let's get a quick fact check on foreign direct investment. Did Q3 come out? This is... No, Q2 is only... Yeah, okay. It's nothing crazy. Damn. Wait, this chart is so... Hold on. Let's just change percentages, alright? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if people had a rebound as we kind of, sort of, are normalizing. When does US Q3 end? Okay, so it's been over for a while. So what are they? Okay, let's see if the BEA. Yep. U.S. International trade in goods and services, GDP, personal income. I want foreign direct investment. No, I don't want AI mode. Direct investment, BEA. $2024. No. It's BOP. Direct investment. New foreign direct investment in the United States. Current release July 11th. Yeah, okay, so it's not out, I guess. I don't know what number he would be referring to.
Ever before, several numbers came in there. It won't be too long. We'll be stopping over there. I think some of you will be there. And the economy, as you saw, some incredible numbers came in. Investment in our country is bigger than ever before by a factor of 2 or 3. And that means a lot of things are being built, and a lot of plants will be opening very soon.
Wait, is construction spending up to what? U.S. construction spending, because this has been down. August 2025. So this just come out? Oh wow! Look at that tiny uptick. I guess. When was this released? Well, where were we?
Congresswoman Taylor Greene, I know that before you had a fight with Elon Musk and you guys were able to work it out.
No, I get along with everybody.
We see the same thing happening between you and Congresswoman.
Sure, why not? I mean, I get along with everybody.
Alright, saying she gets along with her, so maybe that bridge comes back, but I don't know, like he forced her out of power.
No, not my fault.
Not the final offer, thank God. Okay, because before he was saying, if Ukraine doesn't accept this, then we'll fucking we're gonna start pulling away arms deals and whatnot. But now it's not the final offer, as it's being revealed that basically Russia wrote the whole fucking thing.
No, we'd like to get the peace. It should have happened a long time ago. The Ukraine war with Russia should have never happened.
The Ukraine war with Russia. Oh, wow.
If I were president, it never would have happened. We're trying to get it ended. One way or the other, we have to get it ended. So, well, then he can continue. Then he can continue to fight his little heart out. Say it.
Do you have any comment about Bolsonaro's arrest? A former Brazilian president.
So I spoke last night to the gentleman you just referred to, and we're going to be meeting, I believe, in the very near future.
Sir, are you willing?
What was Bolsonaro arrested for?
Today?
What?
Any comment about the former Brazilian president being arrested today?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Are you willing? Mr. President, are you willing?
I didn't hear. Is that what happened?
Yes, there's a
Plot to overthrow the government in a coup d'etat. Okay. Yeah. Maybe he was asking for advice.
That's too bad. That's too bad. No, I just think it's too bad.
Do you still plan to deploy the National Guard to New York City? Do you still plan to deploy the National Guard to New York City?
If they need it. Right now, other places need it more, but if they need it, we had a very good meeting yesterday. We talked about that. But if they need it, I would do it.
Mr. President, are you willing to forgive Congresswoman Taylor Greene?
Forgive for what? I just disagreed with her philosophy.
He called her a traitor, and we're gonna primary her.
She started backing perhaps the worst Republican congressman in our history, just stupid person named Massey, and I said, go your own way, and Once I left her, she resigned because she would never have survived the primary. But I think she's a nice person. Okay, thank you
very much. Okay, yeah, sure. Why not? $1 billion in funding for the TSA? Why not? Alright, let's watch this.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And
okay, that's true, but this is just, again, all of this talk is coming after Trump went after her.
Breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced.
Who is working what?
Speaker and my own party for refusing in our nation's history. I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas.
Yeah.
Just sit.
I guess eliminating capital gains tax on the sale of your primary home would create more liquidity in the housing market.
They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their visa holding replacement.
I don't think anyone who religiously cites that talking point knows. I don't know where it comes from, because I think it's the institutional investors are only 5% of the housing market, something like that. It's some crazy low statistic like that. I'm just not sure.
The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love, because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I've been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard left politically biased NPR and PBS.
Hard left politically, dude. Okay, yeah. It's a reminder of, you got to be careful when making common cause, because while your goals may align on one thing, your long-term vision and plan for the future, it can be vastly different. So while MTG and Massey we align with a lot on the Epstein files, pretty much everything else is a little terrifying.
And the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in
Okay, and also just on the housing thing really quick. It's not like the Black Rocks, really. It's the small house flipping companies that are outbidding people more so. Interesting.
Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything.
I don't know if she's like... it doesn't sound like... I know people are making hay over this line. To me, it just sounds like her conspiracy brain, not her like leaking something juicy to us common folk.
Have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor
impeachment for what, dude?
Father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president.
Yeah.
Loyalty should be a two-way street. And we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government.
Here today.
Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my troops...
Sorry, Trump's just on a rampage about the sedition stuff.
...convictions remain unchanged, because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God, who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention, in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open
Dude, this guy was on a rampage last night. Jesus Christ.
Unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of non-stop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family, but it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my...
Okay, so this is the tweet. Sorry, I just... Yesterday, this was like a scroll down. Holy shit, this guy... what does he do other than tweet? Holy shit. I have just gotten the highest poll numbers of my quote-unquote political career. While my great work in the economy has... Oh, I'm reading the wrong one. Sorry. Well, we'll read the rest of this one then. Things are really rocking. Oh, God. Stopping wars and foreign relations seems to be a strong suit. Also, great. The border and stopping crime. What poll is he talking about? Highest stock market ever doesn't run well with the populist crowd. Prices coming down for the Biden disaster. Biden created COVID. You heard it here first, folks. This is the one I was thinking. Marjorie Trader Brown, because of plummeting poll numbers and not wanting to face a primary challenger with strong Trump endorsement, where she would have no chance of winning, has decided to call it quits. Her relationship with the worst Republican congressman in decades, Thomas Massey of Kentucky, also known as Rand Paul Jr., because he votes against the Republican Party and really good legislation, can't forget that, did not help her. For some reason, primarily that I refused to return her never-ending barrage of phone calls, Marjorie went bad. Nevertheless, I will always appreciate Marjorie and thank her for her service to our country. President Tisha, what a whiplash.
My family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to...
This is called seeing the writing on the wall. And also, apparently, behind closed doors, she's disclosed that she's considering a 2028 run. So...
defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex...
all roads lead to liberalism.
Foreign leaders and
That's
the
not
elite
really
donor
liberalism,
class
but...
that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I.
Well, that's it for Marjorie. Surely this is the last time we see her, right? No. She will be very present. I would be willing to bet she'll be very prevalent in politics going forward.
It is insurrection, plainly, directly, without question. And when you have one of the lawmakers on that video being unable to state in, as you say, lengthy cross-examination, a single so-called illegal order, it just proves the point. It's a general call for rebellion from the CIA and the armed services of the United States by Democrat lawmakers, saying that you have not only the right, but the duty and the obligation to defy orders of the
What kind of orders?
Commander-in-Chief.
They just... I feel like it can't sit well with the American people to say, no, you should defy illegal orders, right? Right, we're on average, we can understand that, right? Hopefully.
Those who carry weapons in America's name?
Like, I feel like the sentiment of having the army be beholden to Trump no matter what he orders doesn't feel good for Americans. Maybe.
Should defy their chain of command and engage in open acts of insurrection that the CIA, the clandestine service, which isn't even legally authorized to operate in the United States, should engage in, again, acts of rebellion and insurrection. These lawmakers should honestly resign in disgrace and never
He's holding back so much here, holy.
Turn to public office again. Disgrace. Should honestly resign in disgrace and never return to public office again for even daring to think, let alone to say these words. And
do you hear the fucking language this guy uses? For daring to think that they could defy Trump.
Say them proudly, but it shows what a dangerous moment we're in. We have seen the Democratic Party nurse the flames of violence and insurrection against the federal government for the last 10 months. When you see this continuous campaign of violence against ICE officers and Border Patrol agents, when you see Democrat sanctuary politicians and Democrat sanctuary governors side with the rioters, side with the assaulters over federal law enforcement.
The people. You can... Okay, for the California protest, yeah, there were some Waymos being burned. That was not good. But also, like, the people protesting, they are the people. The rioters you can arrest, but, like, it is the people making their voice heard when people protest. And the police are also part of the people. Like, Like, the police are there to arrest people who are being violent and a danger to others. But they're not there to arrest protesters.
And that spills even into juries and grand juries when you see Democrat jurors engage in nullification to let off violent attackers who are engaging in physical violence, physical assault against federal officers. This is a dangerous moment. You have a political party, an organization, the Democrat Party, and their message is that any action, no matter how unlawful, no matter how dangerous, no matter how much it threatens constitutional order, is justified if it keeps Democrat policies in effect at any cost.
The law is Democratic policies? Dude, what the fuck? Oh my god. It's like this website is a cesspool. Life, liberty, and oh my god. The traitors that told the military to disobey my orders should be in jail right now, not roaming the fake news networks. Sedition at the highest level. Many great legal scholars agree. Does he mean Mark Levin? Mark Levine? I don't know. Oh my God! That the Democrat traitors that told the military to disobey my orders have committed a crime of serious proportion. Sure, buddy. Jesus. With strong, proper U.S. and Ukrainian leadership, would have never happened. Began long before I took office. All right, let's see if there's anything. It's only when he saw Sleepy Joe in action that he said, "Now is my chance." He had invaded Crimea in 2014, and held it under your watch. The rest is history, and so it continues. Ukraine leadership has expressed zero gratitude for our efforts. Oh my God. What is this meltdown about? How long ago was this? This morning. Oh my God, dude. Sorry, let me just read from like halfway through, because the beginning part is exactly what you'd expect. So, during my first term in office, Putin would never have attacked. It was only when he saw Sleepy Joe in action that he said, "Now is my chance. The rest is history," and so it continues. Then in all caps, "I inherited a war that should have never happened, a war that is a loser for everyone, especially the millions of people that have so needlessly died. Ukraine," quotes, "leadership has expressed zero gratitude for our efforts," not true, "and Europe continues to buy oil from Russia. The USA continues to sell massive amounts of weapons to NATO for distribution to Ukraine. Crooked Joe gave away everything free, including big, in quotes for some reason, money. God bless all the lives that have been lost in the human catastrophe." Okay, us giving weapons for free that's good. We want to support someone who's defending their sovereignty and is trying to leave Russia's sphere of influence and join ours. That is the smart, that is the sane, that is the obvious move. We support a democracy when they're being invaded, especially one that's trying to, be more resolute in their anti-corruption. Come on, they wanted to join the EU, they wanted to join NATO, and they were taking steps for that. God, this whole thing is so silly. Free Tina Peters. Dying and old. Let's do a quick. What was Tina Peters imprisoned for? Place your bets, place your bets, place your bets. Again, I haven't done a whole J6 deep dive. But I'm sure we'll find out something shortly. Oh, man. Ew. Matt Walsh. What a figure. Alright, what do we got? Was in prison for orchestrating a security breach of her own country's election system. In May 2021, she used her authority as county clerk to facilitate an unauthorized break-in of the secure election server room. Her actions included turning off the security, smuggling an insider, and leaking data. Data? Okay. I mean, yeah, you can't break the law even if you're trying to get information that you want. What? Okay, yeah, why not? Why not, right? Eavesdrop on ultrasonic rat giggles? I'm good. Alright. Well, that's all I got for you today.